Hey guys, what's up? I know a lot of you have probably seen all this information already, but I figured I would make a quick video anyways, summarizing my thoughts on it and maybe giving some information that you possibly didn't get. They announced a new Inazuma 11 game. Obviously, Hino has been tweeting about it for a while, and I've talked about it a little bit, but now we know it is called Inazuma 11 Balance of Aries. And so it doesn't necessarily follow the current timeline, so it's basically like Inazuma 11 2, 3, and the Go series didn't happen. It takes place very soon after Inazuma 11 1 is over, and it's basically like a what-if story, as if the aliens from Alias Academy never came, and none of that ever happened. They're trying to go back to the roots of Inazuma, so I would guess that there won't be any Kenshin, no fighting spirits, anything like that. It seems like it's going to be closer to a classic soccer game. As classic as Inazuma can get. As classic anime soccer, I guess. So a couple things to clarify before I get further into this. They have only said that the anime is going to start airing in the summer of 2017. They did not say when the game is going to come out in Japan, and they did not even clarify a platform. And I'll get a little bit into why the platform thing is kind of weird in a little bit, but I am hoping that it is for NX. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but in the past couple days, Eurogamer corroborated with a bunch of sources and finally put out an article saying what they believe the Nintendo NX to be. And it's basically like a hybrid handheld console that you can hook up to your TV. I'm personally hoping that this game is for the NX, but we don't know. Since they did not say it's for the 3DS, I would assume at this moment that it will not be coming to the 3DS, but we will have to wait and see. It's at least over a year off in Japan anyways, so we'll have plenty of time to wait and see. But they did give tons of info about the characters and all that kind of stuff, so we'll talk about that a little bit. It's a pretty basic story, what they've given so far. A bunch of soccer players live on an island. They're a bunch of kids, and their soccer club gets abolished. It's very similar to the original Inazuma 11, actually, other than their soccer club wasn't actually abolished in the original. It was just going to be, unless they did super well in the Football Frontier, which they did. But yeah, they're told that they can get the club back by winning the Football Frontier, so the players move to Tokyo and continue playing soccer. The protagonist, Pseudo Inamori, he joins Raimon, and then in an attempt to play all the way through the Football Frontier, he plays with Raimon to try to get his club back. Their first game is against a team called Seisho Gakuken, which is a crazy strong team that's basically Royal Academy, as far as I can tell. I thought about playing the trailer. It's more like a kind of like an anime introduction to the characters and stuff. But I really didn't want to get a copyright claim, so I would check that out. It shows a lot of the characters, it shows a lot of the action. And yeah, so that team kind of seems like a really weird strong team like Royal Academy. But what I think is really cool is that the story branches after that point, and the series will have 3 protagonists, which I think is wicked, wicked cool. So here are the 3 characters. They play for 3 different teams. And here they are. So the character that Hino teased a long time ago in his tweets was Ryohei Haizaki. And I said, man, he looks evil, but he's really cool. And he does seem that way. He plays on the team I just previously mentioned, the super crazy strong team. And yeah, he seems like he's insane a little bit. And that's cool. He seems really strong, and I like that. Then we have Yuma Noza. I tried to look up more information on this. I couldn't find a subbed version of the video at this time, so I might be able to tell you more about that at a later time. But he is on a different team than these other 2, and I don't really know what that is. Most of the time, he's shown kind of like sitting in the stands, similar to what Nakata did in Inazuma 3 and stuff like that. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know a lot about him. But then we have Pseudo Inamori, and he is probably going to be like the main protagonist. So one thing that isn't made clear is if the anime focuses on all three of them, or if the game will like have branching paths. They didn't really specify. I hope that it's the case for both. But Asuto is Raimon. He plays for Raimon, and they really only showed his whole team. But we'll get to that a little bit later. And so yeah, they put out these logos. These are the 4 teams they showed. Raimon, for some reason, says island on there, which I guess is because the kids are from an island and they all came to play soccer or whatever. And then the other one is called Kirastar, and then the third guy is on Gecko, it looks like. But those aren't their actual team names, so it seems odd. And then fourth, you got Alpine, which we'll also talk about that a little bit later, which I'm super hype about that, man. Ugh. And so they put out these pictures of what all of the Raimon 11 look like. Their names are out there. I didn't take the time to look at all their names and put the names to the people, just because I kind of threw this together really quick. But these first 3 here, obviously you got Asuto there. He is like the main character. He's like supposed to be like the Mark or Arian figure. Hopefully he's closer to Mark and less like Arian. Then second, we got this kid, right? If you didn't watch the anime video, definitely go do that. This kid busts out Fire Tornado. Like, look at him. Look at his body type. Busts out Fire Tornado. It was so fresh. I got so hype. And then the third guy seems like he's supposed to be like the Kevin parable. I'm sure he'll get super emo about how he's not good enough at playing soccer and things like that, but once again, we'll just have to wait and see if that's true. And then we have the goalie, and then it keeps going. It's really odd, because the last 2 guys here look like they're like full-blown adults, even though they're definitely not. So that's cool, I guess. I don't really know a lot about these guys. Their designs are okay with me, though. Then we get here, the last 3. The middle guy, there was concept art before that Hino showed, and I was hoping he was the main character. Sadly, that is not the case. We have our Jack parable, and then this other kid, he looks like JP. So who knows how that'll turn out. We'll have to wait and see. Very excited. And so this is what makes this game even more different than having 3 protagonists and things like that. They announced this peripheral called the 11 band, which is a watch. It's a wristband, and it has a watch and like an LED display on it. And the goal is essentially to be used like a pedometer. So in the video of the presentation they did, it's a little bit more clear than just the pictures I have here. But basically, you would take a player from the game, and since there's no announced platform, that's why it just says game device. The player goes from the game into the wristband, and then as you run or like walk, you can raise their stats, which seems really cool. It's an interesting concept for a game about soccer, trying to get people to be more active and things like that. I think that's a cool concept. Whether or not it'll actually work super well in practice, who knows? Because if any of you remember, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver came with the Poke Walker, and like, yes, you could put your Pokemon in there and go for walks and level them up, but you could only do like 1 level at a time, and it took forever depending on what level they were and all this kind of stuff. So it's another thing that remains to be seen, but they're definitely going to try to market the game around this, and I think it is a very cool concept. I'm very interested in it, especially after like Pokemon Go has been very successful recently. Something like this seems like it could be really cool. So I don't know though. Weird peripherals like this don't always take off outside of Japan, so we'll have to wait and see if this is something that will come with the localized game, if it even gets localized. It's just we'll have to wait and see on a lot of this stuff. And so that's mainly all they really talked about the game. But as some of you know, they had a vote. They put up a poll to see which characters you would like to see return. Obviously, Axel Blaze, Goenji Shuya, he won the poll. And this is his new redesign. at first I thought it was like, wow, he looks a lot older, even though this is directly after Inazuma 11 1. But it's just, I think it's just the anime style that the first one is drawn in there makes him look really tiny. He looks the same, basically, just like, yeah, he looks the same. So that's cool. And one thing, I talked about the poll in one of my recent episodes of post-game action, but Aphrodite got second place. He had like 15% of the vote, and I thought it was really weird that Sean Frost was absent from the poll, but now that makes sense because here is Sean Frost. He is in the game. He is in the anime video. But what blew my mind, absolute mind blown, is people always asked to get Aiden as a recruitable character. And so what happens in the video, spoilers if you actually want to go watch this and not be spoiled, stop listening, I guess, but Sean Frost is sitting in the locker room after it's over, and his brother Aiden comes up behind him and puts his hands on his shoulders, and it's just a really cool moment of like, oh snap, Aiden is going to be in this game. I cannot wait. So we'll have to see how that is, and it's cool that Alpine is still there, and we'll probably see some other teams. It looked like Coach Travis was in the crowd at one point, which was pretty dope. So we'll probably see a lot of returning characters. Who knows if they'll act the same or not, because it's a parallel timeline, but that's really cool. And I don't know, I just pulled these 3 random pictures. There's the dude doing Fire Tornado. Here's some of them in the locker room, and them crying as they leave the island to go play soccer. But yeah, I'm super hyped for this. And after the presentation, Level 5 put out a statement adding a couple more things. One of them was that corporate sponsorship is going to be a big part of the game. They basically said that, like, as you go through the game, you'll be offered corporate sponsorships, and you'll have to decide if you want to take them and things like that. So that's another thing that seems like it could be fleshed out and become really cool. So what I hope is happening is they're replacing all of the weird mechanics like Kenshin and Souls and the kind of things that they added in Go, and kind of taking it down a notch to be more pure anime soccer, like closer to soccer, but just with special moves, not like crazy fighting spirits. And I hope they're filling that gap with like cool features. Like, I think that the concept of the wristband could be really interesting. But I mean, if it's like a core concept and you have to use that, that kind of sucks. But like as a supplemental device, I think that's really interesting. I think the sponsorships sound really cool. Especially if you get like items based on what you go with and things like that. The fact that they are trying to flesh out more characters by having the focus also be on different teams and things like that, I think is really cool. So that way it's like you're not only getting to know the Raimon 11, there could theoretically be 2 other teams full of people. And then you could theoretically, like if Ryohei is like actually a nice guy, kind of like Jude was, then you would be able to like see them interact with his teammates as opposed to just like kind of seeing it from the periphery. So it's very interesting, and I'm excited for more news about this game to come out as time goes on. But that's really all I got for today. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have any thoughts, if you're hype, if there's anyone you want to see return, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.